the mics to come towards you. And when you do ask your question, thank you over there, when you ask your question, could you just identify yourself and if you're a business owner, a resident, just a brief bit of info would be great.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm a local resident. I just want to know if we have any information on the corporations or big businesses that are funding this project, and if we can kind of get in contact with them or know a little bit more about them if anybody knows anything on them.
Thanks, Jamie. The person who has done a lot of that work is actually Wendy, who was just speaking then. One of the things that I think we need to look at is to me, it's there's two angles to looking at potentially targeting the firms and the corporations involved in WestCONnex. I think one of it is about looking at how we can make life difficult for them in terms of them engaging with that project. But the other side is to do a bit of digging around what the connections are between some of the consultancy groups, some of the corporations that might have connections back to the political parties in relation to donations and other things. So I think there's actually two parts to that. One is looking at what are the companies doing and how much grief can we cause for them that maybe will make them want to go and build a train line or something as opposed to a road. And then the other side is what is that connection back to that, back to various decision makers along that history that Matt pointed out in part, but that has been going for a long time. So I think that's certainly the case. In terms of the actual specifics of the companies, then I would suggest that you have a look at some of the New Matilda articles that Wendy has put out and have a chat to Wendy afterwards, but there's a lot of work that's been going on to research the various companies involved, but also how much money is spent. Interestingly enough, when I was meeting with the WestCONnex Delivery Authority, it was said in passing as a bit of a jest to say, oh, with a project this side, of course, you're going to engage every consultant in the country, which I didn't find that amusing given it's my taxpayer money being used to engage all those consultants.
Thank you. A hand over there.
So soon. Margot Oliver, I'm from Florence Street in St Peters, and I just have to say this, I'm really disappointed that not one single speaker mentioned Campbell Street. If what's happening in King Street and the clearways, which will happen, was all well outlined, it's equally bad what's proposed for Campbell Street, which is house demolition. 41 of our local houses. I mean, that's already planned. It's not if might, and it will probably happen. That's already planned. So I'd really like all the wonderful speakers, and you're all fabulous, to actually mention that as part and parcel of what's happening to the local area, because that will decimate the wonderful little urban village of St Peters, which is a thriving urban village by any manner of measurement, which the state government states they're in favour of, now this is my question, with a widening of Campbell Street. Now, is it going to be a 4-lane widening or a 6-lane widening? The consultation, community consultation, said when the tenderers tell us what they're going to do, we'll tell you. That's a great planning process, isn't it? But my question is, and I probably should know this, but I think it'd be great if anybody does, they can tell the meeting. Of the 3 consortia who were tendering for this process, one was supposed to be chosen by July. Has that happened? And I have heard a rumour that one has been chosen and that the projected plan is a 4-lane widening from this 2-lane little goat track. The tragedy of all of this, of course, is if you look at objectively what should be happening to Campbell Street in St Peters, I'm not sure whether the mic's on, is it should be being traffic calmed so that it only takes local traffic. Instead we're going, so that's kind of, gone way out the window somewhere. All we're doing now is fighting for it to be 4 lanes instead of 6, or what? So if anybody's got any further information on that, that'd be
I
fabulous.
think Matt's going to respond to that.
Yes, it's actually a very complicated question. More to do with actually what's happening. Wendy shook her head saying that as far as they've not publicly stated that they have selected a preferred tenderer. However, with the M4 East widening, they ended up selecting Leighton's, who'd been working with them since 2012. So make of that as what you will. As for Campbell Street, so we really should thank Carmel Tebbit, the former Labor member, for having the widening reservation removed from Edgware Road and Liberty Street, because that was supposed to be turned into a 6-lane road. Now, when the Eco Transit found out about it, put a bit of a fire under Ms Tebbit, and she put a bit of a fire under her government, and it's gone. And the Labor Party had a history of protecting the local community, and they appear to have suddenly clicked that they might want to do it again. So we should thank them and remind them again that they should take it up. Unfortunately for Campbell Street, it had the widening remained. So as far as the Department of Planning is concerned, it can be widened to 20, 30 lanes. It's a massive reservation that they've got planned there. However, if they widen it, it causes serious traffic problems. So it'll actually slow people coming off, it'll cause all kinds of traffic flow issues and reduce the toll revenues, reduce the level of service. So what the department has said to Marrickville Council is we might only make it 2 lanes with parking. And that means they're considering demolishing houses to add parking. So as far as we can tell, they're just completely nuts. Basically, if they were thinking about 6 lanes and an extra bridge and more traffic going on to Edinburgh and more traffic onto Edgware. But if we push really hard, we may be able to actually get that street calmed because the local roads cannot handle additional traffic, especially with the local school on Edgware Road. So at this stage, what happens to Campbell Street is entirely up in the air. But the thing to remember is when the government goes to you and says, we're going to buy your house, give it to us, what they're saying is a negotiated settlement. So in this case, they're buying people's homes because they're willing to sell, even though with the sword of Damocles above them, but they're willing to sell. So then when the government then unsells their house, if they decide not to build this road, the government then pockets all the money. But in this case, it goes straight into the RMS's budget. So it's a nice little earner for them. There's a lot of property held by the RMS around the city that is just sitting and waiting for the price to go up.
And they're not going to use the money for pedestrian interference, are they?
Okay, I think we've got a question over here.
So can I just be clear about that? There's no tender been accepted for the widening of Campbell. We would be nominated. We would not know. They have against the vote.
There's nothing been announced. There's nothing been announced is perhaps the best way to describe it, unless Pauline, you have further. But just to say, part of the problem is that there's nothing been announced, and I should just say that it is quite interesting in terms of that information. What is lacking is that the government themselves said that the business case updated would be released in July. You may note we're now in August. In terms of the timing of the release of the environmental impact statement according to the WestCONnex Delivery Authority, it appears that it's not even arrived yet on the Planning Minister's desk. So in terms of where things are at in the schedule, I think that actually there potentially is a bit of argy-bargy between those in the WestCONnex Delivery Authority, in the Minister for Roads, in the Minister for Planning, who is attempting to open up consultation further, and then actually looking at how those things are linking together. But as far as it's been publicly announced, it's not yet been announced as to who's got that tender.
Thank you.
Pauline, did you want
Were you going to say something, Pauline? And then we're going to go to a question here. Just a comment on that.
I was just going to say that the indications we've been given, I was at an event last week where Dennis Cleash was speaking, and he said that they expect to select a tenderer within the next month or two. My home is actually being acquired, and our lawyers have said they expect the formal notices for acquisitions to be issued in September, and that is in line with what happened in Haverfield. Basically, that tenderer got chosen, and within hours people were getting door knocked, some for the first time, to be told that they were losing their homes, even though they had received absolutely no notice of that beforehand.
Thanks, Pauline. Gentleman down the front here had a question. Remember to please introduce yourself, thank you.
Yeah, my name's Andrew Chitter. I'm the Secretary of the Friends of Erskineville. I'm heavily involved in the WestCONnex action movement with No WestCONnex and other groups. I started my own group, Cyclists Against WestCONnex. If you want to join us, first Sunday of the month, we're having loop bike rides starting at Sydney Park. But I've been working with a number of activists within the movement, with Wendy and going to meetings with Jenny and others, and we really have concluded that this road will not be stopped without direct action. It has come to that point where we will require people to stand in front of things, to chain themselves to things. And that is what we have seen. We saw Dr. Peter Ross chain himself to a drill, and myself, I got up and invaded a luncheon with Dennis Cleash and tried to embarrass him, chasing Nick Greiner up the stairs of the town hall. These are the sorts of things that we will need to do. Now, talking to the people in the movement in the East-West link in Victoria, which was cancelled, there were various wings. There were fantastic councils, Yarra Council and Moreland Council on board donating money. There were resident groups, but there was also the wing that was willing to take direct action. And what they said to me, and what we've been reading, is that they had 1,000 people on their phone list, they had an SMS contact list, and at any point, you might, if you're willing to be on that list, you will get a message and say, come here, there is something happening here, you need to be here. And you only need about 50 people at a time, out of that, so hopefully get 1,000 people at any one time that can be there and do that, and you can stop things happening. So to that effect, a phone number has been set up. A Facebook group has been set up, and a Twitter account has been set up. It's called WestCONnex Direct Action. If you're interested, get one of these flyers, SMS WestCon to the number, and you will be put on that list, and you can join, and you can actively put your body in front of this tollway, and you can stop it. We will be working with the direct action training. We'll be working with anyone that is willing to join this movement. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Walker. I'm in the St. Peter's area, and right now I walk out my door, I look left, and I see these historic terraces, beautiful terraces on Campbell Road, and they're going to take down all these terraces with historic significance. And to me, the entire project is without any thought. And it's both parties, the Liberal Party and the Labour Party. I know Nick Greiner is a shareholder of the toll company. I'm not quite sure about Bruce Baird. I have no idea why Labour would support this. But all I can say is there is no political solution to this. And I'm sorry to say this to the Greens, but there is no political solution. We have to stand up and we have to fight. The only problem is, people like myself, I will do it, but I'm getting older. Where are the young people? They have, and I know there's some young people here, but most young people now are extremely conservative. And I'm not sure. They are. They're very conservative, you know? But they weren't out there when Vietnam was going. They weren't out there, you know?
Is there a question there?
Well, the question is, who's going to stand up and fight? That's the question.
Okay, thank you. Now we've got a few. Now hang on, we've got a few hands up now. I think. Oh, okay. Are there questions?